New at 6, holding Rhode Island's politicians accountable. Our news partners at the Providence Journal are separating political fact from fiction. Eyewitness News reporter Catherine Sotnick has the details live with the Providence Mobile Newsroom.
Well, the statements are given a ranking from true to false to pants on fire. And our news partners at the Providence Journal also documented 30 statements from Lincoln Chafee when he was out on the campaign trail. And they're checking to see if he is keeping his promises. First up this week, a statement from Richard Ferruccio, a correctional officer who was president of the Correctional Officers Union for 9 years. He was also a lobbyist on their behalf at the State House, and he says, quote, "What we have now is the most generous, in my opinion, good time bill in the entire United States."
Good time is the policy that gives prisoners time off for good behavior, and it's become a big issue in the case of child killer Michael Woodmansee, who shaved 12 years off his 40-year sentence by getting good time. So we looked at this statement and we looked at surveys around the country. We found that in 2008, 2010, Rhode Island, there were about 12 states that had, 12 to 14 states that had more liberal good time policies. Rhode Island has the most liberal in New England, not the most liberal in the U.S., so we ruled the statement false.
Next up, a statement from U.S. Representative David Cicilline, the former mayor of Providence, who says, quote, "When I took office in 2003, we had very little reserves."
Congressman Cicilline has come under a lot of criticism, as you know, for the condition that he left the city in, particularly for draining the reserve fund to balance the budget. In his defense, he said there was very little in the reserves when he took office. We looked back, there was $10 million back then, and that it was about 3% of the budget. Some recommend 5%, but still it was not very little, and in fact it was 5 times what he left when he left office. So we ruled this barely true.
Lastly, on the Linkometer, Lincoln Chafee's campaign website said Chafee will oppose tax changes without reform of spending and mandates.
In this one, he said that he wouldn't do anything on taxes until he reformed spending and did something about unfunded mandates. These are things that cities and towns have to do without getting paid from the state. He didn't do anything on that. That's a promise broken.
And, of course, you can find out more on projo.com, or you can find a link to it on our website, WPRI.com. I'm Catherine Slotnick, Eyewitness News.